Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! I finally have permission to share this story from my mother, who is the OP of the tale. Quick background. A year and a half ago, my mother was diagnosed with lymphoma stage 2. Lymphoma is a type of aggressive cancer to your lymph nodes. My poor mother had it pretty bad then. It was caught not a moment too soon. She was under extensive chemo/radiation treatment as the cancer was all over her neck and chest for 6 very long months. She also lost half of her thyroid to cancer. Now though she has been in remission for a solid year, thank you God. This story takes place during her treatment, and sadly, I wasn't there. But Dad and her filled me in a few days after the incident. Mom had been cooped up at home after an aggressive round of chemo and wanted to get out for a while on the day that she felt better. One thing to note, Mom is OCD. To this day, the house can't pass a military inspection. One thing she cleans weekly is her car. But since her chemo, she had no energy to do so. Though Dad and I were hesitant to allow her to go anywhere because of her health in COVID. Mom was adamant, and I quote, "I need some fresh air, and so does a car." No joke. She said that. Mom did some quick errands for small things at home, including a nice new blanket, then drove over to a car wash company that did all the interior cleaning for customers. Since Mom was not feeling up to doing it herself, she let them clean the interior of her car. While she waited, a lady was apparently looking Mom over. Keep in mind, Mom at this time was almost 2 months into her chemo, and it was showing. She was a bit paler. Her hair, after she cut it shorter before treatment, was starting to thin out and some spots of missing hair were present. But Mom didn't want to wear hats or wigs. She's a brave woman and a trooper for sure. And she was wearing a mask to protect her poor immune system from the virus and others around her. This lady apparently stomped over towards my mom and she started shouting at her. According to my mom, she was cursing at her, telling her that she shouldn't be out in public looking like that, and even going so far as to demand what my mom had, and that she feared for her safety because she believed what my mom had was contagious. Thing is, however, she wasn't wearing a mask the whole time this pet of a woman was screeching at my mother who is fighting cancer. Still boils my blood and wishing that I was there to deck her and keep her away from my mom. I curse you, work. My mom, God bless her, has the patience of a saint. She kept silent the whole time until the lady put her hands on my mom, even going so far to shove her in the chest where her cancer was. Which according to my mom felt like she hit a sledgehammer on a burn spot dead center of her chest. Mom stood up after that to get away from her, but she grabbed my mom hard and shoved her again. And that's when my mom reacted with a hard punch to the lady's face, knocking her flat out on the ground. Mom said she felt bad hitting her, not meaning to knock her out like that. But I was proud of her. Of course, the police and an ambulance were called. The cop took my mom's side of the story once they looked at the CCTV while the lady was being looked over, just bruising, but she was making a scene and screaming that the deceased woman contaminated her, according to my mom. The cop, who sounded like a cool dude, was on my mom's side and told her that he understood that Mom was just defending herself and was kindly asking how her treatment was going and if she needed a ride to the doctors to be looked over. Mom had an appointment the next day, so she was fine until then, but they did offer a cold compress for her chest. In the end, the lady was indeed charged with assault and battery and given a false police report. She concocted the full lie when questioned for her side of the story, saying how my mom just attacked her when she asked if she was okay. The CCTV and witnesses backed my mom up. She got jail time as well as 300 hours of community service working with cancer patients at a hospital, plus a $700 fine. The cop had a hand in the community service, apparently since his mother was a cancer survivor and knew what Mom was going through both physically and mentally. Mom and Dad treated the cop to a nice meal someplace as a thank you gesture for helping with the issue. So, a little backstory. I'm a 19-year-old female and was 18 at the time. This happened in the first week of June 2021, and I was recently incarcerated for a crime I did not commit. I know that sounds pretty suspicious, but really, my now ex-best friend / roommate lied to the police I called for because of her friends and her actions towards me in my apartment about what had actually happened, saying things like she strangled me until I was unconscious, and she is dangerous, and she is on drugs, which was a lie because she was. But that's a story for another time. I was only in the county jail for a week before they released me, and I finally had the case dismissed in September of that year, since the defense, my ex-best friend, never showed up and never answered any questions about the case. Therefore, there was no evidence. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, when you are placed in jail, you can spend a few days there waiting for your booking status. In my state, it takes 3 days between 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to find out what your booking status is. After those 3 days, you will have to wait for a court hearing, which they usually don't tell you when it is. Weekends don't count as a day, so if you're booked on a Friday, you will have to wait until Wednesday the next week to find out. I was lucky enough that I was booked on Sunday night, and my court hearing was the last day of the week for court to be in session, Friday. Before I found out about my booking status during those 3 days of limbo, I was constantly asking the guard at Watch Our Cells what my booking status was. It was the last day, Wednesday, and my floor of cells was allowed to wander the area for the remainder of the day. We switched off the first floor every other day. So the little bit of freedom and hangouts with the other inmates was heaven. The guards switch every day, and this time, I assume a fellow woman by our altercation and appearance, our guard already seems on edge and ready to tear someone's head off. So I try my best to be as kind as I can to ask about my booking status. For more context, my name is typically masculine, but as much as I've been made fun of, it is really a strong name. I approach the front of the huge platform. That's at least 5'5" tall. I step on my tiptoes to be able to even see the guard. This way, I don't alarm her and she doesn't feel threatened. Plus, it's the rules. And the conversation went something like this. Hey, I was just wondering if you could check on my booking status for me. She tells me, sure. What is your booking number? I pulled out a piece of paper from my front shirt pocket that had it written down so I wouldn't forget. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For safety purposes, I'm using a fake number. The guard scoffs and tells me, can you give me your actual number? At this point, I'm genuinely confused. I was given an inmate's ID and even that card had my number on it. So I checked it again to make sure. I checked my ID this time. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She tells me, no it's not. What do you mean? I am 99% sure that this isn't your number. The guard is speaking loud enough that all my fellow inmates are listening in, and this just furthers my embarrassment for even trying to speak to the guard. Everyone has audibly quieted down, and the guard hasn't even noticed the commotion she's causing. I was nearly too afraid to try to correct her that it was. But luckily I was not in a good place mentally and was practically begging for something to knock me off my sanity. I hated authority and I still kind of do. So I was ready to correct her, even if it meant losing some freedom by being forced back into my cell. I say, that is my number though. Really? Your name is not Dominique? Now I'm a social butterfly, so most of the inmates already knew my name and actually spoke to me quite a bit. So everyone just held their breath. I say, it is. No, I'm pretty sure it isn't. I took my ID out of my pocket again and placed it on the counter in front of the guard. She quickly picked it up with a huff, and all of the inmates watched her face fall. You could tell she instantly regretted saying anything about my name. She quickly typed my number into the system again, and she told me that my book status was still pending. I took my ID back and walked away with a smile. The inmates I spoke to the most were watching me walk away, trying to hold back laughter, and I'm pretty sure the guard said something about staying quiet after that exchange with me. Later on, I made sure to make a complaint about her to her superior, and she got told off in front of us because when you get booked, they take photos of your face. So when she looked up my number, she should have seen it was me in the first place. Giving my ID is totally unnecessary. So this lady was being lazy and a jerk, and she deserved the scolding. It is not my fault she didn't ask for my ID in the first place, and she doesn't have to. I risked losing and forgetting about my ID by putting it on the counter. That's why you don't have to do that, because everyone forgets they put it up there. Out of sight, out of mind. I know this isn't the flashiest story, but it really goes to show that you shouldn't be judging names just from reading them. You never know. I've been referred to as a man, being told Mr. when greeted in many court dates following my release, and I've never been offended as they have all apologized. Never in my life had someone blatantly accused me of lying over my name in a serious setting. What would even be the point of making a joke about a name in the first place? And what did she think my name was anyway? It's not like my name is 100% sounding masculine either. Does anything sound 100% masculine? And it's pronounced how it's spelled. Regardless, I still think of her entitlement here and there. It helps me remember that I should definitely strive to be better than people like that and to stay open-minded. My family was homeless, so a friend let us live with them for a while. They were a married couple with a pair of kids under 3. I knew them both from high school, and the girl used to mess around with my sister's ex. It was great the first week or two. We paid our half of rent for a bedroom shared with my family then. Trigger warning, the abuse showed. She wouldn't get up with her kids till late, so the husband was doing everything. She would slam things, yell at her kids, and throw milk against the wall because she was mad and so on. Well, it calmed down. I got a job waitressing and I would get tips. My boyfriend was a delivery driver. We would put our money in a jar. We had 150 saved. We went out to a store and came back, then went to bed. And the money was gone in the morning. We were sure she took it, so to be bitty, we didn't pay 150 of what was owed. She wasn't too happy about it, so we called her out and got a whatever from her, which confirmed her taking the money since she for sure wouldn't have stayed that silent if she wasn't guilty. A couple days later, she and I got jobs working at a warehouse. Cool, fun. She was genuinely nice when she was in a good mood. We will come back to that very soon. Well, it was great. She would drive me to work and I would give her gas money as a thank you. One day I get up for work and get ready, and I hear the car drive off. I'm confused, so I say okay, and get in my car and drive. I get to work and she's acting like she's in charge. Strange as our job title is to put stickers on boxes and wait for some boxes. I and everyone else noticed she's flirting with our boss. Well, I pointed it out to our boss and he was like, "Oh, no, I didn't realize." She had this intention, so she was called out for it and she called his boss and said she was getting harassed at work, almost costing him his job. A girl came up to me and said that she was also talking bad about me and that I was a horrible woman and I didn't take care of my kids and how I was a gross, disgusting person. I went to her and told her we need to talk when we get home. She quit, and when we got home I called her out on everything. Her abuse, how she treats her kids, how I have been acting like mom to them because she doesn't do anything. I make dinner, I clean, I take care of everything, including giving bath to her kids. Her husband was having health issues and overwhelmed by taking care of kids all by himself and the abuse she treated him with. Even laundry that wasn't ours. She told me that I was a fake witch and a liar and how we needed to be out as soon as possible. A short while later, we ran into a lot of money because a family member passed away. We got an apartment and left this house finally. Later, we found out she got a new job and cheated on her husband. She then kept saying that he was a jerk and abused her, which is ironic coming from her. Time went by and I got him set up with my friend. They are great together. There is more to the story, but basically she's bitter and mad. She has called the police on my friend and had an EPO out on her, even though my friend treats her kid like her own kids. She spends money on them for clothes they desperately need, shoes, new blankets and everything. I never saw that woman actually buy the kids anything unless it was food stamps. But unfortunately the kid still went to the evil witch and the man she had an affair with. After a while the kids came back with bruises, so we called CPS on her. Suddenly she started saying that he, the new boyfriend, is the one who hurts her and her kids and how he's a piece of crap. Then the post gets deleted later after she's in the clear and they are back together. Luckily, there is paperwork saying she has to have supervision with the kids and he is not allowed near them. But again, she's on Facebook talking bad about my friend and saying she was a home wrecker, starting drama with other moms who helped her in the past and so on. What she doesn't know, I'm petty and hold way too long of a grudge. I have everything documented and printed along with my friend. We have printed the fake police reports she's made, the fake CPS cases she's opened, as well as much more. Every entitled little thing she's ever done to the fake narcissistic behavior will hopefully end as she could go to jail. And of course, I will keep you posted as soon as I get new information after giving everything I have to the police. When I was working as a waitress at a restaurant who are famous for their breakfast during the morning shift, a man came in and ordered a coffee black. He wanted the classic pancake combo with 4 buttermilk pancakes, 2 eggs, hash browns and bacon or sausage. The man chose bacon and spent at least a full minute or two telling me how crispy he wanted his bacon. I wanted crispy. And when I say crispy, I mean extra crispy. And when I say extra crispy, I mean practically burnt. It's so crispy. I made sure to write down crispy and when to put it in. When I took him out his food and a refill of coffee, I knew that the crispy bacon just wasn't gonna cut it for him. I told the cook to redo the bacon to seriously crispy, and I took him out his food. He was really upset about his lacking in crispiness bacon. I was glad to hear I was having the cook redo it. I've had difficult customers before, but this guy sent his bacon back 2 more times. Finally, I just told the cook to slightly burn the bacon, and that's what he gets. The cook, who was also miffed at this point, nodded and the next bacon he handed me was clearly burnt. When I placed it down, he got upset again, saying now we are giving him burnt bacon. And I refilled his coffee for the 3rd time and said with a smile, "Then you finally got what you wanted. Enjoy your meal." He definitely had crispy bacon on his table. Edit: I appreciate all the advice on how to cook crispy bacon. I could cook some really good crispy bacon. My boyfriend loves crispy bacon probably more than he loves me. But at that time I wasn't cooking the customer's bacon. And like I said, at the end he 100% had crispy one in front of him on the table that he said wasn't crispy enough. But to each their own. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.